Hey, it's April with The Possible Diet, and today I have a treat for you. I'm going to show you how to make blueberry cheesecake low-carb ice cream. So, berries are a fantastic choice for fruit if you're on a low-carb diet, and this ice cream has very little sugar in it, so it makes it also good for a low-carb diet. You can definitely make this ice cream and not swirl the blueberries through it and just use the blueberries as a topping if you want to. You're welcome to leave the maple syrup out. Maple syrup is real sugar and it helps the blueberries be less crystally. It doesn't completely remove the crystals because you'd have to add a lot of sugar to do that, but it does help. So basically what I'm making is a variation on the creme brulee ice cream that's also on this channel. It's gonna be a custard made with half as much cream because we're gonna replace the other half of the cream with Siggi's low sugar vanilla yogurt, and that's gonna give it a little bit of a tang so it tastes cheesecakey. We're also gonna add a little bit of lemon extract, which is gonna help with that tang. But for the most part, if you've made that recipe, this is very similar. It does have one less egg in it, which I just found like works a little bit better. It's a little bit icier because there's a little bit less fat in it. You can use full fat vanilla yogurt if you want to. It will help with the iciness, but just be aware of that. Sugar is what makes things creamy. So if you're gonna do this, frequently you have to add sugar to get ice cream to be super, super creamy. And if you add sugar, then it increases the carbs. So that's how it works. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and make the custard. I have a 1/4 cup of allulose and a 1/4 cup of monk fruit erythritol sweetener in here. I'm gonna add my cream, cook it until the sugars dissolve, and then temper the eggs, stir the eggs back in, and then thicken it up a little bit. Cook it till it becomes a custard. I'm gonna whisk in the lemon and vanilla extract and the MCT oil, and then I'm gonna strain it and then refrigerate that mixture for at least 2 hours. And then we're gonna make our blueberries, chill that also for 2 hours, and then we will churn them together. So here we go. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and add my vanilla into, I find that the vanilla like infuses the cream a little bit better when you add it earlier. So I'm gonna add that then. And then my lemon. Just a little. Just stir. And again, this is just steaming. So what we want to do is heat it until the allulose and the monk fruit dissolve. And then we're going to temper the egg yolks by adding a little bit just to heat up the egg yolks. Just a little bit. You don't want them to scramble. A little bit more. It's just my dinner cooking. Go ahead and feel it, and if it's warm to the touch, a little bit more. And then you're ready to stir it in here. It just lets the egg yolks kind of like warm up to the idea of being a custard. And then you're gonna cook this until it thickens. We're gonna set it aside to cool to room temperature. And then once the vanilla yogurt and the custard are both at room temperature, then we're gonna mix them together. well, we're gonna add the MCT oil to the custard after we take it off the heat, and then we're gonna mix them together. There's a lot of steps, I know. I always get it right in the recipe. It smells delightful, by the way. And the reason we use lemon extract instead of lemon juice is because we want like a flavoring. We don't want to curdle the whipped cream and turn it into buttermilk by adding an acid. So, spring for the lemon extract. Okay, so once it kind of looks like, you know, boiling lava a little bit, you shouldn't let it boil, but when the bubbles come up, it should kind of look like that. You'll notice it's kind of like, it's almost like thick crepe batter, and it coats the back of a spoon, then it's ready. So give it a stir, take it off the heat, add in your teaspoon, 2 teaspoons of vanilla MCT. This is what is gonna keep it from getting too icy. And then we're going to strain this into a bowl and then let it cool in the bowl so that we can then mix the vanilla yogurt into it. All right, so we're just gonna let this cool at room temperature. Whisk it, you know, like every 10 minutes or so. And then we're gonna fold in 1 cup of this yogurt. So while we're waiting for our yogurt and our custard to cool to room temperature, we're gonna make our blueberry swirl that's gonna go into the ice cream. So for this, you need 2 cups. I use frozen blueberries. I haven't tried this with fresh blueberries. I feel like frozen blueberries have already been frozen, so they break down a little more. They also tend to be a lot smaller than regular blueberries. So, you know, for something that needs to be swirled throughout, I like fresh blueberries for muffins and cakes, and frozen for this recipe. So 2 cups of frozen blueberries. Make sure you get organic because the pesticides that they use on blueberries, it's like they are definitely in the dirty dozen, and you don't want that in your ice cream. So spring for organic blueberries. And then this needs a little bit of sugar. So I add 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. I mean, carbs are carbs, but I feel like at least this is like natural syrup. It came from a tree. I know. Regular syrup comes from cane. You want to add a 1/4 teaspoon, scant 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. Totally optional. If you don't like cinnamon, you can leave it out. I add a pinch of nutmeg. I find it just helps with like the cheesecakiness for some reason. And then we're going to add a teaspoon of our vanilla MCT oil. And that's also going to help with the iciness. And you just want to cook this down until it's real jammy, and then take it off the heat and set it aside while we get ready to make our cheesecake ice cream. All right, so once most of the liquid has evaporated from your blueberries, it'll look like that. It'll be like, you know, kind of jammy. It won't be like totally like jam because there's not that much sugar in it. But it'll be kind of like, if you have a nonstick pan, it'll kind of look like that. Most of the liquid will be evaporated. So you want to set this aside in a container to cool in the fridge. And now our custard is room temperature. So we're going to add in our Greek yogurt, Siggi's yogurt. I like Siggi's because not only is it not that sweet, but they have a low sugar version. And it tastes really good. And it comes in vanilla. And if you want to get fancy, you can do like lemon yogurt, but I like the low sugar vanilla. That's how I roll. Whisk it in there. It should smell like lemon cheesecake. Give it a taste. It tastes like lemon cheesecake. And now put both of these things in the fridge for 2 to 4 hours or overnight if you want. And then I'll show you how to churn it and swirl it. Okay. The next day, more than 90 minutes. I just didn't want to make ice cream that late at night. I have our custard. Look how beautiful it looks. I'm going to put it in our pre-frozen ice cream maker. I have our blueberries, also fresh out the fridge. So what we're going to do is churn this ice cream until it's soft serve consistency. And then we're going to swirl in the blueberries and then put it in a container to continue freezing. This is kind of like the same technique you want to do for any kind of ice cream that has like a ripple going through it. If you want to make mocha almond fudge, maybe I'll make that later this summer. That might be good. And again, you can't eat a whole gallon of this just because it's reduced carb. Like, this is that alternative so that you don't feel left out when everybody else is eating Cold Stone. You have something you can enjoy. And, you know, it doesn't quite do the same damage. This is always a little tricky to get on. Okay. And that's it. Turn it on. I'll meet you back here when it's soft serve consistency. And that's what it looks like when it's like soft serve stage. So now we're gonna take it out. Our ice cream is soft serve stage. So we're gonna take it out. It tastes pretty good. I tasted it. So once you've got your ice cream kind of this stage, you want to go ahead and give your blueberries a swirl. Dump them in. Just give it a couple of folds. Just like that. Then put it in a container and freeze it for a couple hours to harden up. Or just eat it like this right now. And there you have it. Blueberry cheesecake ice cream. Not bad, huh?